So do you remember in our last video that we were able to execute a block of code depending on if a statement is true? So if 5 is greater than 1, we will execute hello world. And we see if we save and refresh, we'll get that statement. But when it's false, nothing happens. We get no results because this block of code is skipped, and execution will jump down here to the next line and just continue linearly downwards. If we want a certain action to be taken if this value is false, we have to use another reserved word, and that's called else. Now, an else statement cannot be used on its own. It has to have a corresponding if statement. And what it does is it evaluates the expression in its corresponding if statement. And if it's false, it will execute its own block of code. Echo, good night, world. So let's take a look at this one more time. If 5 was to be greater than 1, what would happen is we would execute hello world and we would skip the rest of this code and just drop down our execution outside of the curly braces. That's because it's only going to execute one of our two results. However, if our first condition ends up being false, it'll execute its corresponding else's block of code, which should be goodnight world. So if we save and refresh, we'll get goodnight world. But if we change this to be true, we'll get hello world. Notice how we only get one of the two values. We don't get both. But no matter what we put here, we will get one of the two values. Either the if block will be executed, or the else block will be executed.